Hi, hello, and welcome to Lily's Library. So today we're going to be talking about my top 5 reads from 2025. So typically I like to try and choose 10 top reads from the year to talk about, but this year I didn't really have 10. I think I ended up having like 8, maybe 7. I've read a lot of books that I really enjoyed, but only a handful of them were standout books and books that I could see myself thinking about and recommending and wanting to reread for years to come. So that's the 5 that I've got here in front of me. Now, I don't think I'm going to do this in any particular order, but we'll just go down the stack. But I'm going to start with a manga because there's only one manga on here, and that is The Guy She Was Interested In Wasn't a Guy at All. This one is by Sumiko Arai, and I really enjoyed this. I thought this was just so fun and cute and sweet, and just a sapphic manga is all I need in my life, and this was just perfection. I know that volume 3 of this has just been published in English, so I'm going to be getting a copy of that soon, even though I've already read it online, but I absolutely just adore this manga so much. So as I said, the first 3 volumes are currently out, but this is also being posted on Twitter, I believe, pretty often. I don't know if it's weekly, but the mangaka posts it pretty often on there, and you can find translations pretty easily as well. But this is a little Yuri, so it is the green Yuri as it's mostly known online. But in this we follow 2 high school girls. One's meant to be a gyaru, I'm pretty sure is how she was described, but she is one of the popular girls in school. She's very girly, wears lots of makeup and all that stuff, and has pink hair. But she is also a really big music fan, and one day after school she's walking past a music shop near the train station and decides to stop in and have a look, and immediately starts having a crush on the guy that's working in the music store. But that guy is actually one of her classmates, who is a really quiet girl that sits behind her or near her in class. And we kind of follow them as their relationship blooms and the kind of twists and turns it takes as the characters, or as the gyaru character realizes that this guy at the CD shop is actually a girl in her class. And it's really sweet. There's some really funny and tender moments in here. It is just so adorable, and it really just follows their arc of being like a little high school sweetheart, and it's really, just really cute. And I love how accepting everyone is in this world. Like, everyone is just so accepting and happy for them to be together. One of their friends, who was a guy in their class who I think had a crush on her to begin with, I don't remember exactly, but he is like their biggest shipper. He is always there rooting for them and backing them, and it is just so cute, and I absolutely love it. But it is just such a fun and sweet manga, and something I can see myself rereading forever. Like, anytime I need a pick-me-up or want something light and easy to read, this manga series is definitely going to be it. And I'm so glad volume 3 is out, so I can track it down and read it. And then I think that's just going to be 4 volumes. I don't know if that's correct. I could be wrong, it could be ongoing, but I just absolutely adore this. So it is definitely one of my favorite reads of the year. Now, the other 4 books are completely different. The first one is also sapphic, but that is Until the Red Leaves Fall by Ali Parker. Ali is a friend of mine over on TikTok, and she is such a phenomenal writer and author. I've watched a show that she worked on and really enjoyed it, and I loved her debut book, which was At the Foot of the Cherry Tree, and this is her newest one. But this is set in the Melbourne theatre world in the 1950s, which is a really fascinating and unique setting. I haven't read any books set in that time period, but this is also historical fiction. I don't know if I clarified that. But this also has a really big focus on the Japanese internment camps in Australia, where a lot of Japanese people and non-Japanese people as well, I believe, were sent to these camps during World War II. But in this we follow Emiko, and we follow her at 2 different points in her life. Mostly we focus on her during the 50s when she is in the theatre, and she works as a writer. But her husband is kind of the one that takes a lot of her good ideas. Like, all the best moments in his plays, she has had a really key role in developing those scenes and writing those scenes. And one day she is offered a really big writing gig to write a play for one of Melbourne's biggest actors, who is always the lead actress in her plays. But those 2 kind of butt heads, as this actress wants to capitalize on Emiko's story and Emiko's history of being Japanese Australian and what happened to her family in these camps. And then we also have some chapters exploring Emiko's time in those camps, from when her and her family were taken there when she was a really young child, and everything that happened. It is a very emotional and heavy read, but it's also got lots of really nice heartfelt moments. It explores sexuality and like builds a really sweet found family, and it is just so beautiful. It is so sapphic and queer as well, and I just absolutely adored it. It's also got one of the most insane endings. This book has got so many twists and turns. It really kind of reads like it is a play, like the way that it is structured out and the ending of it. It's just absolutely breathtaking. I love this book so much. It made me cry, it made me laugh, it made me so mad, and like any book that can make me feel all of those big emotions is just perfect. And just incredible in my eyes, and I need more people to read this. I do believe Ali's books are only published in Australia at the moment, so if you do really want to get a copy of her books, you can order them online from some Australian retailers that do ship internationally, or you might be able to get the ebooks of them as well, but I need everyone to read these books. If you're a historical fiction fan, even if you aren't, you need to pick these up because they are absolutely beautiful, especially this one, and just like the way that they talk about Emiko being bisexual and her sexuality and how just like normal and it is, and it's not even the biggest part of her. I just loved how that was done. It just felt so nice, and it made me feel so seen with it as well, that it wasn't like such a big thing that her coming out was a major plot point. It's just who she is and it's her life, and I just thought that was really beautifully done. But I could talk about this book forever. I just absolutely adore it. The next book on this list is a dystopian, and it's a book I read really early on in the year and I haven't stopped thinking about, and it is such an insane book, and that is Chain Gang All-Stars. This is by Nanakwame Adjei-Brenyah, and this is absolutely insane. Like I said, this is set in a dystopian futuristic version of America where there is the Chain Gang All-Stars. This is a violent sports program that is broadcasted across the US where people in prison fight against each other for the chance of freedom. It is a gladiator style battle, and we follow multiple different POVs throughout this world. You've got people that are actually competing in these games. We look at what they're in prison for, how they're feeling with this, and whether they actually think it's a good thing or not that they're fighting to be able to be let out. And then we also follow people that aren't involved in the games, people that are against them, people that are fans and that watch it, as well as people that are actually involved in the development of the games. It's a really, really fascinating look at the way that the world views violence as entertainment, and the way that some people are morbidly curious at first and how that kind of grows into an obsession, and the way that people just don't really care about the violence and realize that these are real people that are going through this. It is truly a horrifying read. I sobbed multiple times reading this. It also made me really mad. It is just a perfect book. It is very harrowing and difficult to read, but one I think everyone should pick up. It's just such an incredible book. This has also got some sapphic characters in it, and it does look a lot about being queer as well, and how that is kind of seen through the lens of imprisonment and through this system, which I found really interesting. The next book is another one I read really early in the year, and that was The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wang. Now, all of these books so far, and the next book I'm going to be talking about, are all 5-star reads. This one wasn't, but it is still one of the best books I've read this year. I was tossing up between putting this or Blood Over Brighthaven on this list, because I originally rated Blood Over Brighthaven 5 stars, but I think I'm going to reduce that as well. But this is a 4.75 star read, and I'll get into the reasoning of that soon. But The Sword of Kaigen is a war epic. It is very heavy. It is about a lot of things that happen in war. It is a brutal read, but really good. But in this, we follow two different characters. We've got Mamoru, who is the son of a very powerful samurai family. His father is from one of the most powerful samurai families in all of Kaigen, and his mother is also from an equally powerful family, but her family is kind of shunned upon a lot, and she is as well, because she is a woman, because of how misogynistic this world is. But Mamoru's dad has some really powerful abilities that he's been trying to learn, but has been struggling to learn. And equally, his mum has some powerful abilities, but not all of it is known. There's theories that her family are able to control blood, think bloodbending from Avatar, and that it can control their enemies with it, which is really fascinating. But then the other character we follow is his mother. We look at her when she is raising her sons and her family and trying to live with her husband, who is really just a piece of shit, as well as looking at her when she was in the West and going to school there and the things she learnt. A major part of this book is the misinformation and propaganda that our government's exposed to us, and being able to identify that and figure out what is true and what isn't. That is a very key focus in this book, especially with Mamoru, seeing these things happening and realizing the things that their government is telling them and the things that are being broadcast on the news maybe aren't the whole truth. And we kind of follow these two characters as they navigate that, as well as an impending war that is happening, and whether they need to stay and fight for their family or whether it's better for them to leave. This is truly harrowing. It has got one of the best fight scenes I have ever read. It was so beautifully well done. It was just so perfection. Like, it's one of those scenes that you can just really picture and see. Like, it was so vivid. It was so insane. This book had me sobbing, like full body sobs. I had to stop reading because I couldn't see the page. It was just incredible. It's also very rage inducing. Like I said, this is a very misogynistic world, especially some of the male characters in this book that we focus on. They're just really horrible, horrible people. I feel like that wasn't entirely dealt with in the best way, but it it was very realistic at the same time. This wasn't a 5-star read for me, but I still really enjoyed it. The main reasons that I couldn't rate this 5 stars was because of the ending. Now, this is supposed to be a standalone, but it really doesn't read like a standalone. I felt in the last, like, maybe, I don't remember how long it was, but maybe like this long, the last like 100-ish pages, maybe little less than that, it was really setting up for a lot more to happen. And kind of nothing was done with it. It felt like it was really setting up for a sequel, and they had to quickly try and wrap things up, but it wasn't done in a satisfying way, and it just wasn't a good conclusion. I feel like it should have ended a lot differently. That being said, if this does get republished, I would love to see the ending edited and changed, and I think that could make it a very strong and impactful read if it did end differently, but I still really loved this, and like, because of those fight scenes and some of the things that happen in this book, I still think about it to this day, and that's one of the reasons it is on this list. Now, the final book on this list was very hard to decide between. I had 3 options for it, 3 5-star reads, all from the same trilogy, but I think narrowing it down, this is my favorite book in that trilogy, and that is Royal Assassin by Robin Hobb. This is book 2 in the Farseer trilogy. I absolutely adore all of these books. Like I said, all of them are 5 stars. They all made me sad, they all made me mad, I just felt every single emotion reading these, but this book I think was the most impactful and most harrowing out of the 3 of them. So the first book of this trilogy is The Assassin's Apprentice, and in this we follow a young boy who is named Fitz, and he is the bastard son of the king-in-waiting of the 6 duchies. And we follow him when I think he starts off being about like 5 or 6, and his birth family or his birth mother has just given him up again and been like, we can't raise him, the crown needs to take responsibility for their child. So he's given over to Buckkeep and returned to the royal family. And he never gets to meet his dad, which is a very big part of who Fitz is, but we follow him as he is trained to be used for the crown rather than against the crown, because people of the Farseer bloodline typically have this ability called the skill. It means that they can talk to other people that also have the skill in their mind, they can use powers from other people, they can manipulate people's minds and dreams that are further away. It's a really crucial skill, as it is called, and if Fitz isn't trained to be able to use it, and if he isn't trained to follow the crown and to do stuff for the Farseers, then they think he could be used against them. We also follow him as he's being trained to be an assassin for the family, since he can't take a step into a proper role in the royal family because his father won't claim him properly. He's then also therefore used that way for the crown, and we follow him as he navigates all of that and all this training, as well as a different ability he's starting to realize he has that is very frowned upon and no one will give him answers on. And this book just takes such a wild turn. There's so many twists and changes. There's basically an impending civil war. There's also a war with a neighboring country with invaders and everything, and it is just so beautiful, but so devastating at the same time, especially this book. Book 1 had me sobbing, book 2 had me sobbing, book 3 as well I cried, and just book 2 though, everything that happens in it is so beautifully done, if heartbreaking, and I can't stop thinking about it. The difficult thing with this book is though that I can't really say too much without completely spoiling book 1, because everything is just absolutely insane, but the stuff that Fitz goes through and that Robin Hobb does to her characters is so heartbreaking to read. But that is also one of the things I really loved about these characters, just how real they feel, like whether they are a protagonist or an antagonist or a side character. You can clearly see their motivations and clearly understand them. Like, yes, you hate them, but you can understand why they're doing what they're doing, and I think that is such an important thing to be able to do in a book, because so many times you're always told to hate this character, but not necessarily why, and they don't show or tell you why these people are doing what they're doing and why it is so bad, which is something Robin Hobb does really well in this book. It's not that she tells you everything, but the way that she shows these people operating and the way that Fitz responds to it is just insane. This has got some of my favorite characters in it. Fitz is such a precious little baby, and the Fool as well. I just love them both so much. This book is just utterly perfection, and I'm so glad I finally read the Farseer trilogy. You can kind of see behind me here, I've got the Illumicrate editions. These books are just absolutely incredible. But these are my top 5 reads for the year. Let me know if you have read any of these and what your thoughts were, or what your top 5 reads from the year were. But I'm I'm so in love with all of these books, and I'm so excited to read more amazing books in 2026. I will be continuing my Realm of the Elderlings journey. In January, we'll be starting the Rainwild Chronicles. So if you would like to read along with us, there is a link down below to join my Fable book club. But yeah, that's kind of it for this week's video. Like I said, let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these or what your favorite books from the year were. And yeah, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.